Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Buffalo Roundup, your podcast home for all things VHS Buffalo athletics. It's made by the Buffalo, for the Buffalo. Boy, Marty, I've missed saying that intro. I'm Cody Hills, pleased to be joined alongside Marty Zuro. And Marty, can you believe it? We're kicking off another school year. It's our second one here at the Middleton campus. We're back on the podcast, first one in a little while. It's good to be back, and boy, what a difference a year makes.
Yeah, it's crazy. The school year kind of crept up on us a bit. We weren't expecting the summer to fly by so long, so quickly, and it felt like it was going to be a long summer, and ended up just flying right by. And we had the end of spring sports kind of just fizz out towards the end of April, and then all of a sudden we're here and football's been going for 2 straight weeks.
Yeah, I don't want to bore everyone with the behind-the-scenes logistics, but it has ramped up, throttled up, whatever you want to use here these last couple weeks to get everything ready, not only from an entire school standpoint, as you might imagine, but just the athletics department as well. And we'll certainly try to encapsulate everything here in the next couple weeks ahead and get everyone ready for some fall sports, because obviously with the new school year means the start of fall sports, and I'm talking Friday night lights, volleyball, swimming, golf, cross country, bowling, all that and more, all that good stuff. And we're going to kick this episode off with some talk about that Buffalo football team out there who are, as we talk here, underneath that hot afternoon Florida sun, plenty of water breaks for sure. And those Buffalo are going to be hosting Harmony High School next Friday night for its preseason classic. Looking forward to that one. And we'll also tell you about a cool little event we've got coming up, sort of related to the Friday night scene that you'll see this fall here in Middleton. And it's an event, Marty, we hope becomes tradition around these parts.
Yeah, and another tradition I think that head coach Michelle Mormon for the volleyball team has wanted to start is we're hosting a preseason classic with ourselves and then Tavares, a local club that's usually pretty good for their classification, and then a regular state powerhouse, the Rock School out of Gainesville, with multiple Division I players. So our girls will get to face off against both of those teams coming up next week.
So a lot to get excited for, a lot to get ready for. And as a reminder, is not only you get excited for those events and get ready for them and all that the school year has, but also this podcast and every single new edition of it. You'll find all you need and more about the Villages High School sports at any time on our athletics website. That's, of course, our full-fledged digital home with scores, schedules, rosters. We're getting it all updated here for the new sports, or for the new season and the new school year. We'll have it. Just keep checking back every day, Marty. It seems like we're doing something on there. Of course, all the information, everything you could need devoted to the Buffalo athletic programs right at your fingertips, including each new episode of this podcast. So, of course, as always, be sure to check us out online at athletics.tvcs.org. All right, Marty. Well, it's kind of cliche and a punny of me, dad joke to say it, but let's kick off this podcast with some football. As I mentioned in the opening, the Buffalo taking on Harmony High School.
Not a lot of info there. New opponent. They've never played them.
Played them. And certainly, and I want to say there was a potential matchup way back when. It wasn't regular season. I think it was a preseason. They've never played them officially. I'll have to find that out for Coach Pettis. We'll tell you more on that in a future episode. But anyways, Harmony coming to town, 7 p.m. next Friday night here at the Range at H.G. Moore Stadium, a preseason kickoff classic exhibition. Marty, what do we expect? What do we hope to see? And if nothing else, it's going to be good to see these lights and these candles flicker here once again atop the Range at H.G. Moore Stadium.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the format usually follows 3 regular quarters of varsity play, and usually the fourth quarter is reserved for both sides. Sometimes second string, oftentimes JV, depending on the size of the squad, which is something we'll talk a bit more about this season. But our football team, some healthy numbers out there. We're thinking somewhere between 50 to 60 guys. We'll get the exact numbers when the official rosters come down early next week. And I think what we can expect to see is a revitalized Buffalo offense. Head coach Richard Pettis has kind of handed off, so to speak, the quarterback room to Ashanti Woolard, a former top 5 quarterback out of high school, played for UCLA and USF. He was a dual threat quarterback, and he's spent probably a good 4 weeks now with Patrick Harding, Jay Kennedy, and the rest of the quarterback room, getting them to understand the higher level thinking required of quarterbacks. And it's been great to see that group's growth. Malik Williams back as the lead running back for the Buffalo. He'll look to have another big year and maybe even try to have a record-breaking year. And then, the guy that everybody seems to be talking about this year because he's already committed to Memphis, Jonathan Harding, playing tight end and defensive end for the Buffalo. And you and I are probably going to have some good discussions as the season goes along of, is he going to Memphis to be a tight end or a defensive end? Because the numbers will start to tell where he's more effective this year. But, I think this first game, what they want to see is how does it look putting it all together? How does the team look? And boy, what looks bad, so we can fix that going into the first week of the season, regular season, when they play Wildwood next week or the week after.
Yeah, that's interesting too. I think it's an interesting dynamic because you obviously want to try to get the most that you possibly can squeeze out of those first 3 quarters. But at the same time too, you do have a rival opponent in week 1. We'll certainly get to that more as we go. This matchup against Harmony, it's certainly an interesting one. Harmony coming up from Osceola County down there near the Kissimmee area. They went 2-8 last year, and a first-year head coach last year for Nick Lippert, 2-8. And actually, a fun story I learned yesterday, their offensive coordinator was actually a college teammate at Memphis of head coach Richard Pettis. He was 2 years younger than him. So
I would say there might be some insight there, but the thinking around football offense has changed quite a bit since Coach Richard Pettis was a spry young man and funny enough, up north in Tennessee. So
2-8 last year. Harmony don't really want to get into a whole lot about them. It is a preseason game. Maybe we'll touch on a little bit. An episode coming up, and we'll certainly give you more football content as we come down the road. But as Marty mentioned, I'm in agreement. I think this Buffalo team, I think there's a lot to be excited about this year. Different looking schedule, got some opponents on there that haven't really been on there in a few years. Of course, a new district, playing in a district now with Astronaut and Cocoa coming off the Atlantic coast. Of course, Astronaut, a really respectable program. Class 2A District 6 is the district. And Cocoa, the reigning state champion, perennial powerhouse. You know all about them. But I think there's a lot to be excited about. I agree with you, Marty. The offense is certainly interesting. I think the defense, you mentioned Ashanti Woolard coming aboard offensively as a quarterback's coach. Just another offensive-minded person in that offensive room. Over on the defensive side, former NFL player, 11-year vet, Brock Marion. 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Dallas Cowboys, played for the Miami Dolphins. He's a new defensive backs coach. There's a lot of excitement. The numbers, as Marty mentioned, Marty's just stealing all my notes, I guess. The numbers are encouraging. There's a lot to be encouraged about. At the same time, though, if you're listening to this podcast, Richard Pettis is the head coach, the only head coach this program's ever known. There is a lot of work still to be done in that head coach's mind. And it's a lot of certainly lacking in probably execution where he wants to be. Technique maybe not quite there, but the enthusiasm has been there. Kids have been fired up, ready to go, and I know we're ready to watch them too.
And it's so hard planning the first 2 weeks of the season, basically your training camp, and you think you know exactly everything you need to teach them, and then the moment it hits the field, it's as if I at least see it every year. It's not that they look bad. It just looks like, boy, they've practiced for 2 weeks.
Yep.
and after they get past that first series script of plays and they start getting into the flow of the game and understand their opponent, they every year they cease to amaze me on how they come out in that first preseason game. And we're basing our expectations off of the green and gold game and then the spring classic that they played. And I think that our expectations aren't too wild of this team. You know, every team comes into every season wanting to win a state championship. Otherwise, why would they be there? But their district itself is a state championship district. So we'll see how this season goes. And it all has to start at week 0, right? Preseason classic.
Really does. So we'll be excited. We're going to leave it there for now. Of course, we'll probably give you more on the season here. Maybe even do a special season preview episode coming up maybe next week or the following week. We'll give you more Buffalo football and sort of quench that thirst for you Buffalo football fans. I'm going to talk about this for a minute here, Marty. Those who have that thirst for Buffalo football and the Friday Night Lights scene, we're going to start something here. A tradition. It's the inaugural one, but hopefully it becomes an annual tradition. Calling it Meet the Buffalo Night. It's going to be this upcoming Wednesday, August 14th. Going to start at 6 p.m. The doors will open at 5:45 p.m. That's Wednesday, August 14th. Here in Middleton, Meet the Buffalo Night. Marty, let's just talk for a second about how cool this is. First of its kind for us. You see this, I think, me being from Iowa in the Midwest, it's a common thing in smaller towns. I think you and I have talked, of course, many times about sort of what we love about the Villages, right? It has a small town, close-knit feel despite its growth. I think this is one of those things that's going to play right into it. Meet the Buffalo, you're going to get a chance to come out and meet the varsity players. Junior varsity, we'll introduce all of our seniors. The VHS cheer squad will be there. The VHS Golden Girls will be there.
You and I will be there.
We'll be there.
That's what they're really coming for, right? It's you and me, right?
No. You want to meet the Buffalo Roundup podcast host, of course. But let's just talk for a second, and then we'll move on about just how cool having an event like this is. It's sort of come together, I don't want to say at the last minute, but it's just something that we thought, gosh darn it, we should do it. And we're doing it, and I'm kind of really excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to meet all the kids that are going to put in the hard work for the next basically 12 weeks. And, they sometimes they're somewhat faceless because they're wearing the helmet and they're in the pads. And this kind of gives you a chance to put a face to the number, to the name. And it's an exciting opportunity for them. You'll get to meet all of the players and the coaching staff, and I'm sure that there's going to be a ton of questions and interest about it, and this is your time to meet all of them. And of course, it's a great opportunity too with the school year starting off to have a bit of school spirit and bonding over our program here, the athletics program. And I think it's a great opportunity for the guys too to meet the community that supports them. Sometimes it's kind of hard when you're standing on that field and you get in that zone. You kind of forget that there's 5,000 screaming fans up in the bleachers, and you just kind of get into your zone. And maybe this will mean something to them getting to meet it, and also mean a ton, I'm sure, to all of the younger kids that are Buffalo in the middle school and elementary school here at the Villages Charter School to meet their idols, and for the high school kids to show how much impact they have on the young kids that cheer for them every Friday night. Yeah,
and speaking of cheer too, it's going to be an opportunity. You're going to get a chance to see a performance by my biased opinion, one of the best cheerleading squads in this entire state. Of course, our Buffalo cheerleading team, and then of course the national champion, world champion, renowned Golden Girls. They'll be performing as well, so you'll get a chance to hear from a couple of their captains, I believe, as well, and get to meet their seniors. So everything you love about Friday nights, you'll be able to take that event in. Again, admission is free. It'll be, like I said, in the VHS gymnasium here on campus at Middleton. Parking free, admission free, everything free. Come out and just have a really cool event. And don't want to get the cart ahead of the horse here, Marty. We're going to try to make this event even bigger in the future. Just give folks a little teaser there. But yes, there's finally 6 p.m. next Wednesday night, August 14th. Should be a really fun event inside the VHS gym.
Yeah, and at that event, we'll have a table set up so that people are able to purchase the annual athletics pass, which can also be purchased online. The annual athletics pass gets you into all of our home events, regular season home events here on campus. So no preseason or playoff, but all of our regular season home events: football, basketball, volleyball, track and field, baseball, softball, swimming. I'm probably missing a few. all of our events here on campus, it gets you into, we've got 3 tiers of premium pass, which gives you special seating at football, basketball, baseball, and softball for $150, a base pass for adults, general admission seating to the home events for $100, and then student passes available for all TVCS students K through 12 for $75 with their student ID. This can be purchased, obviously, at the Meet the Buffalo night, but if you want to go ahead and pick up yours now, you can either visit our athletics website and click the tickets button at the top, or you can go straight to GoFan at gofan.co and type in The Villages in the search bar, and it should come up, and it should be right at the top of the page of the GoFan for our annual athletics pass. Each individual contest is $8. So as I like telling people, you use that pass 10 times as a student or 12 times as an adult, the pass starts paying for itself after that. And if you don't think we have enough events on campus, boy, do we have enough events on campus for you to take the chance and come out and support all the high school athletes.
Pays for itself. And then finally, Marty, we'll wrap up this first in a long while. It's been a while, but we're glad to be back on the Buffalo Roundup. We'll wrap up this episode talking about, you mentioned earlier, volleyball, a fun preseason classic of their own, a tri-match as it's known. We got 3 teams, as you mentioned, coming to town on Tuesday night. And as you said in the opening, 3 really good teams, actually, starting at 5 o'clock. Tavares and VHS, of course, and then 6 p.m. you'll get to see Tavares and the Rock go at it, and then at 7 p.m., VHS and the Rock. That'll be fun to get our first glimpse at Michelle Mormon's squad, and let's talk about that for a second, Marty. This is, I hate to use the term first real season because it's not like Michelle Mormon and the Buffalo last year and the 3 seniors they had. It's not like they didn't try hard or anything, but I feel like this is the first time after, of course, Michelle Mormon.
First uninterrupted season.
Correct, yes. So Michelle Mormon came in last year near the halfway point of the season, took over as head coach. She's had them all off season. We know they've been busy, been playing a ton of volleyball. I think from the 2 practices I've stuck my head in on, I think they're more cohesive. I think they are bigger, stronger, faster. I think they hit a lot stronger, which is frightening because they certainly had some power hitters a year ago. Just how excited are you to see what she can do in this kind of first uninterrupted full off-season cycle, having these girls and now getting ready to turn them loose in a preseason tri-match on Tuesday?
I think the real testament to Michelle Mormon's impact already is the fact that they added a freshman team to the slate, and that they have enough girls in the program and are providing enough playing opportunities to, especially to the younger girls in the program, that by the time they get to the varsity team, they're ready. And what I'm looking forward the most to this preseason, the two matches they're going to play, they get to open up against Tavares, like I said in the opening, a strong, local opponent. Definitely a team that, I don't want to say right away they should beat, and if they lose, it's a bad thing. But it's a team that I'm sure that they're looking at as, this is a win game. This is a game we're supposed to go out, we're supposed to dominate, we're supposed to win. This is how we work out the kinks. And then the second game that they're going to play that night against the Rock is, okay, this is how we challenge ourselves. And either we make a name for ourselves right now, or we figure out what we need to do going down the road through the entire season to get to that level, to be able to contend for a state championship at the end. So I'm excited to see how they come out. A couple players have shuffled around their positions. We'll talk more about that as we go through the volleyball season, and as that we will be able to reference back where they played and how they played and, what positions they played in. I think the biggest thing that Michelle Mormon's going to take away from it is similar to Richard Pettis. They kind of approach it in the same style. They've put together this plan. Now they just kind of want to see it in action and figure out, okay, do I not need to spend as much time on this? Do I need to spend more time on this? What is the way forward for this team? To me, I'm just excited to have some. It's funny, high impact, high action, exciting volleyball in our gym again, and I'm looking forward to seeing the improvement already from the athletes. And, it's funny, they only had 3 seniors graduate last year. So it's going to look quite similar with just a few pieces plugged in, filling those holes for those 3 seniors.
Yeah, and if you're really interested in the nitty-gritty details, I didn't play Tavares a year ago, but there's plenty of history there, being a former district foe. And then they did play the Rock last year in the season opener, of course, under a different head coach, but the Rock won that one in 3-1. So get out to that certainly on Tuesday. And, 3 matches for the price of 1 on Tuesday. Get a chance to see 3 volleyball matches there. So excited for that. Excited for football. Excited for the Meet the Buffalo night. We got all of that and more. Excited for this podcast to be back too. Appreciate everyone listening here as we get this thing up and rolling again, and a lot of fun to get to do it. Appreciate it for all the support, administration on down, that we're able to do this again. And so with that, that'll do it for this edition of the Buffalo Roundup. Again, coming up Tuesday night, starting at 5 p.m., we have the volleyball, the triple header, if you will, the tri-match, 5, 6, and 7 p.m. for that one. Next Friday night, we have the kickoff classic against Harmony. Be sure to come out for that as well, football. And Marty, before we know it, all the rest of the sports start up. We haven't even got to them. We'll get to them in a future episode. I wanted to take care of what's first out of the way, but you know it, swimming, cross country, bowling, golf. Got plenty to talk about as we get going here. So with that, we appreciate everyone for listening. Thank you so much. Marty, I'm excited. You excited?
Let's go Buffalo.
Let's go Buffalo. And with that, until next time, for Marty Zero, I'm Cody Hills. As my man said, go Buffalo.